You know, I've heard it said, and I've been known to say it myself, that how does it go? Now I got to think of this thing. I was going to start and be so smooth, but history's a mystery. No, what is it? History. How does it go? Tomorrow, the future's his future's a mystery. Oh, yesterday's history. The future's a mystery. Today's a gift. That's why they call it the presence, the present. But what if history's a mystery? I messed that one up really bad, but that's okay. I was just listening to some really fascinating stuff that I may or not bring to you that, oh, it's got me feeling all giddy inside and I wasn't smoking anything. But anyway, we'll move past that. In history, folks, history is one of those things that we've got this idea that we know what history is. And I mean, history's history. History can't be questioned. History can't be debated. History's just history. History, ladies and gentlemen, is a mystery, not the future. Well, the future is kind of a mystery, but I would say that history can be just as much of a mystery as the future. And what do we really know about history, ladies and gentlemen? And I thought I knew history. I am a student of history. I'm a student of history on a postgraduate level. And I thought, wow, I knew history, but I don't know history. And I'm telling you, you don't know history either. None of us know history, and that's the way the powers that be want it, and they're taking advantage of it. And the future's in our control, says Tracy Daugherty. If we take it, history, you know what? Maybe the only way to take control of the future is to take control of history. Jeff, what are you talking about? You're rambling a little bit. That's okay. We're here to ramble. It's late night. We can ramble if we want to. And folks, I got to tell you, it's amazing times to be living in, and I'm so excited to be here. But let's talk a little bit about history. And let's talk a little bit about where history came from and who has written history and what objective intellectuals, objective scholarly people think about history. And the starting point of all this was, I think, probably Tracy Dyer and the 1,000 Years added to history. And I'm like, this is dumb, but for some reason I couldn't shake it. So let me look into it. And then it all comes down where I start reading and learning a lot. There's a lot of scholarly writing about this. And what's funny is a lot of it we found out by trying to go to the moon, believe it or not. History as we know it has come into question by our efforts to go to the moon. Wow. Go to the moon. This is some interesting stuff, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope that you get excited about it as I am. There's a thing called the New Chronology, and it argues that the conventional chronology of Middle Eastern and European history is fundamentally flawed. Somebody say, "Oh, I'm going to go watch another YouTube." Is there? You can tell people that history is a lie. Oh, but I want to go watch this other podcast. That's what's wrong with us. That's what's wrong with us. And Juvenale is right. Napoleon once said history is a group of lies agreed upon. But there's something called the New Chronology, and I'm a new chronologist. And the argument is that the conventional chronology, ladies and gentlemen, chronology means time for you Christians that are sneaking into the broadcast. Chronology means time, and the chronology, the timing, the history of the Middle Eastern and European history is fundamentally flawed, and that events attributed to certain times in civilization actually occurred much, much later, like in the Middle Age, more than, are you ready for this, Dyer, 1,000 years later. New chronology also contains a reconstruction, an alternative chronology, radically shorter than the standard historical timeline, because all history is basically folded onto the Middle Ages. And Andrei Fomenko, I've read his book. I'm reading one of his books. And if you haven't read the books, please don't yap, because if you haven't done the study, then you haven't earned the right to comment on this particular subject. You can share your opinions, but don't talk like you have read it and know what you're talking about unless you actually do. Andrei Fomenko claims that the written history of humankind goes back only as far as 800, and that there's no information about events between 80, 800, and 1,000, and most known historical events took place from 1,000 to 1,500. So what they're telling us, ladies and gentlemen, is what we've been speculating about on this channel over the past couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, that maybe we're not on the verge of 2020. We're on the verge of 1020. And that would throw off all of the numerology and stuff like that. So I think it's very, very interesting. But being the guy that I am and being the guy that you depend upon, I didn't just stop at Fomenko. I looked up new chronology and I looked up the people that were involved in it. And it's more than just Fomenko. Nikolai Alexandrovich Morozov, July 7, 1854 to 30 July 1946, was a Russian revolutionary who spent about 25 years in prison before he turned his attention to various fields of science. And he got involved in the new chronology, and he decided, ladies and gentlemen, and postulated that the book of Revelation was actually written in the year 395. Interesting, huh? Jean Hardouin, he's French. Jean, Hardouin, Jonathan Drouin, Jean Hardin, maybe is how you say it in French. He was born in 1646. He died in 1729. He was a French classical scholar. He developed a taste for his father's for literature in his father's bookshop, and he obtained admission into the order of the Jesuits, which puts up my antenna. When he was 16, he studied theology, and he became the library of the Lycée Louis Le Grand in 1683, and he died there. And he also has come up with many competing chronological ideas. And if history is faked, which I'm convinced it is, it doesn't surprise me at all that the Jesuits would try to get in to the fake too, because when there's something that's faked and people start realizing it, the Jesuits try to get into that. That's why there's so many Jesuits into the YouTube channels that you watch. And I keep telling you, and you won't believe me, but they're there. They really are. But anyway, this guy says that with the exception of the works of Homer, Herodotus, and Cicero, and the natural history of Pliny, the Georgics of Virgil, and the satires and epistles of Horace, all of the ancient classics of Greece and Rome were spurious, having been faked by the monks of the 13th century under the direction of someone named Severus Arcontius, whom he thought might have been Frederick the Great. He denied the genuineness of most works of arts, most coins, most inscriptions, and declared that the New Testament was originally written in Latin, which goes a long way towards our thoughts about it being written by the Romans. He underlined with good reasoning his short work, which appeared in the year he died, 1729. He's been called pathological, but he was only, isn't that interesting? The people that come out and speak against religion are called pathological, but he was just an extreme example of a general critical trend of his time, following authors like Baruch Spinoza, Thomas Hobbes, and Jean Daly, who had started to identify and discard mistaken attributions or datings of the medieval documents or church writings. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we think, oh, it's 2020. We're discovering that 1,000 years were added, how smart we are, how bright we are, how cutting edge we are, how new age we are. Surely we're the smartest people that ever lived. And there's dudes back in 1729 or 729. But there's dudes a long time ago that were saying, I have a question. They were saying, wait a second. And one of those mentioned Baruch Spinoza. He was a Dutch philosopher, died in 1677. He was one of the early thinkers of the Enlightenment. And, God, I love this guy. He was one of the early fathers of modern biblical criticism. Ooh, how about that? Rusty Shackelford, hold on. I got you, cousin. We already have not a troll, but a skeptic, and that's okay because we encourage skepticism. Modern biblical criticism, including modern conceptions of the self and the universe, he was considered to be one of the great rationalists of the 17th century. And we have to mention the Age of Enlightenment. Thank you, Tracy. That's where we're going on that. We're going to look at the legitimacy. I don't know if it'll be today, but we'll look at the legitimacy of carbon dating itself. The Age of Enlightenment was an intellectual and philosophical movement that dominated the world of ideas in Europe during the 18th century. Or was it the 18th century? But you know what I'm talking about. The ideas were on things like the sovereignty of reason. And we're always talking about be divine, be sovereign, think for yourself. The sovereignty of reason, the evidence of the senses as primary sources of knowledge. Think about that. What if we didn't believe what we were told, but we believed what we could think out and reason? And what if we didn't believe that, oh, well, science says and proves, but if we just look around and took our senses and said, wait a minute, something ain't right, just like we were talking today. And we're not going to turn this into a flat earth show, but somebody castigated me because Crow 777 was on the channel and he said, the earth is moving faster than a speeding bullet, which isn't quite true. That's a little use of hyperbole, because what actually happens is that the earth, we're told, spins at 1,037 miles an hour, and a speeding bullet goes at 1,700 miles an hour. But this person said, if you just say it makes one revolution every day, that's better. If you say it's as fast as a speeding bullet or 3/4 as fast as a speeding bullet, that sounds like you're trying to make things up. Why is it that if we're told the facts that the earth is spinning right now, you watching me, wherever you are, you're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, 3/4 of the speed of a speeding bullet? That's hard to believe, isn't it? But if you're told, oh, the earth turns once every 24 hours, you think, oh, okay, I can get that. See, that's the difference between sovereignty of reason and sovereignty of believing what people are telling you. But see, it's like when people tell me, oh, Jeff, your magic bracelets, they're so silly. And yet these magic bracelets keep me at the original Schumann resonance of this earth. These magic bracelets put my cells in actual harmony. These magic bracelets have been shown on videotaped blood tests right here on this channel. Look at the before blood, look at the after blood. And here it is. We're not asking you to believe in blood. We're asking you to see the evidence of what happens to your blood in Mystech. Sovereignty of reason, ladies and gentlemen. Sovereignty of reason. Think about it. JeffreyDaugherty.com. Click on the Mystech logo. You get a 20% discount, but I'm going to do something between now and Christmas. If and only if you include what color you want, if you include what size you want, and if you include your full mailing address, the first time, if I don't have to chase you for the color, if I don't have to chase you for the size, if I don't have to chase you for your mailing address, we're going to give you another 10% off for the holiday season, 30% off Mystech. And this comes out of my pocket. This isn't something Halo's doing. So between now, 12/17 and 12/25, we will give you 30% off, not 20% off. And I do wear them 24/7. I even wear them. I don't want to embarrass Cynthia, but I wear them all the time. Let's say that, ladies and gentlemen. So the fact of the matter is that I'm never really naked. Never am I naked. But anyway, get the Mistech, jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the Mistech logo, click on the Mistech tab, and now through Christmas, 30% off, not 20, 30% off. All right. So, and when sovereignty of reason and evidence of the senses are primary, then things like liberty, progress, toleration, fraternity, which means brotherhood for you Christians, constitutional government, and separation of church and state, those things spring up. In France, the central doctrines of the Enlightenment philosophers were individual liberty and religious tolerance, in opposition to absolute monarchy and fixed dogmas of the Roman Catholic Church. The Enlightenment was marked by an emphasis on the scientific method and reductionism, along with increased questioning of religious orthodoxy. And that's what we're about. We're about an emphasis on empirical, observable, objective data. We're about an emphasis on liberty, progress, toleration, fraternity. We're about an emphasis on you being divine, sovereign, and free. An emphasis on you guiding your own spirit, mastering your own ascension, and being your own guru. That is what we're about. Yes, you can still get the earbuds. Everything's 30% off through Christmas. That's what we're about. And also Jean Daly, French minister, biblical commentator. He translated in anyway. He attacks those. And here we're getting to the main. Don't whine in the chat room. Do not whine, or you'll be gone. It's a no whining zone. Jean Daly attacked the authority of the church fathers being conclusive on matters of faith and doctrine. Daly contends that the text of the fathers is often corrupt. And even when it is correct, the reasoning is often illogical. And he offered that all of the Ignatian epistles, those written by Ignatius, were spurious. My kind of guy. My kind of guy. New chronology is most commonly associated with the Russian mathematician. Now, he wasn't a psychologist, ladies and gentlemen. He wasn't an artist. He wasn't a painter. He was a mathematician. Have you ever known mathematicians? Those guys are about numbers, data. Give me the data. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you feel. I don't care what your grandma said, your great grandpa. I don't care if the letters are red or black. Show me the data. You know, Tom Cruise, show me the money. Anatoly Fomenko used to say, show me the data. Only he said it in Russian. So these guys that want to know the data, these guys that are mathematicians, all of a sudden back in the late 1700s decided something's wrong with history. The times that they've set up that this happened and that happened, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. Oh, you can't question it because the church says that, folks. We know that the church lies. We know that anything involved with Abrahamic religion, Judaism, Christianity, Islam is a lie. And we know that anybody involved with Judaism, Christianity, or Islam are liars. Anyone that still believes in it, because they're still infected with a blood toxin, a blood pathogen. Yeah, we got no whiners here, only winners. And winners don't whine. Rub some dirt on it and move on. These guys said, no, the church is wrong. I don't care. They're wrong. We're mathematicians. We've done the work, and it didn't add up. And did you notice that this came to light when they tried to work out the math to go to the freaking moon? They're like, we got to work out this math to go to the moon, and they had to take into account eclipses and stuff like that. And they're like, but if we work this math backwards, it's wrong. History's wrong. History's wrong. So these mathematicians are saying that the church has not only been selling us a bill of goods about religion, but they're even selling us a bill of goods about history, ladies and gentlemen. They're even selling us a bill of goods about history. Wow. Wow. NASA research of Earth-Moon mechanics of the late astrophysicist Robert Newton led mathematician of Moscow State University, Dr. Anatoly Fomenko, to a breakthrough in the chronology of the world history that crowns 30 years of meticulous and intensive research. That just rings something in my mind. 30 years. For 30 years, I've been studying the biblical scriptures. 30 freaking years. You believe that? I know I don't look old enough. I know I look like I'm in my late 20s. I know I don't look old enough. I know I'm too sexy for these glasses, but it's true. I am old. I'm 56 years old. And for 30 years, I've been studying this on basically a full-time basis. That's why I have over 100,000 hours of study in just the biblical text. And then you add on to that many, many more hours of study across the realm of spirituality. And I can sit here today and confidently say that there's nobody that you're going to see on YouTube or no one in the esoteric realm that is more of a scholar and a student and a studier. There's no one that's got more research than I do that is of comparative age. So the things that I say, I didn't learn because I had too much pizza one night and got a revelation from some father, mother, sister, brother that told me that I was the one and here's the information. No, I studied it out and reasoned it out and broke it down from the text. I did it the old-fashioned way. I got my knowledge the old-fashioned way. I earned it. And that's why you can have more trust in what I say than these gurus, Johnny come lately, Jill come lately gurus that get a message from somebody and all of a sudden they're the only ones that are out there that can tell us any truth. And, you know, I feel kind of sorry for those people, because if you actually are able to be in a more nurturing environment, if you're actually able to be constantly surrounded by a high atmosphere, a high spiritual atmosphere, it makes it so much easier for you. But all they have to do is go to jeffreydaugherty.com and click on the fluffy logo, Focus Life Force Energy. And they can get a 15-day trial on their cell phone. 60 feet in all directions, up, down, all around from your phone. The fluffy environment is in effect. It can be on your home. It covers your home, and it puts you in a more nurturing environment. It allows me to think more rationally. It allows me to be at a higher efficiency. You combine it with the Mistech bracelets, and I have to say, with the C60 Purple Power, go to c60purplepower.com. Use code TCW10. You put these things together, and it makes you to a place where it's easier to see, to understand, to discern, to learn. So if you want to learn about Fluffy, they give you 30 days for free. You don't have to list your credit card. Try it for 30 days. What have you got to lose? Maybe it'll make a change. Maybe it won't, but do drink more water. And if you do have to pay for it, don't worry. It's like $30 and change a month. Way less than what you spend at Starbucks or on weed. Did I say that out loud? But you know it's true. So anyway, this guy, this astrophysicist, I like things that are thought up by astrophysicists. I really do. Not that everything an astrophysicist thinks up makes sense, but I like to think that here's this astrophysicist with pens and paper and slide rules and, you know, protractors and computers and, you know, writing those guys that are on a ladder in front of a blackboard and they're writing in this equation is as big as the whole side of the wall. I like the idea that people do that much work, that they do that much actual effort in coming to an understanding. And Robert Newton's trying to figure out how to get NASA to the moon. And did he ever figure it out, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I figured out, and I'll say it loud and proud, and I'll debate anybody on this. I'll debate anyone on this. Live debate that what they showed us going to the moon was not going to the moon. Period. The end. Now, we might have gone there, but they didn't show us going there. And what they told us we went there in, we didn't go there in. What they told us they drove around up there, they didn't drive around up there. And I still want to know if they left Bruce Willis on the moon to take the picture of the limb leaving the moon. Bye. Thanks for the picture. So this guy's trying to get NASA to the moon. And he's doing the work. He's doing the math. And Dr. Fomenko from Moscow State University has been researching all these years. And he starts using his equations and he says, wait a minute, something's wrong. Dr. Fomenko he says this research was a byproduct of Russian-American competition in moon exploration when both the USA and the USSR, back in the USSR, they were trying to develop high-precision computer-assisted methods of calculation of the Earth-Moon telluric system. Now, folks, I know that if I go past a word that I don't understand, it can reduce my comprehension by up to 60%. I don't know what a telluric system is, so I'm going to look it up. Telluric. What is telluric? I think it has to do with telemetry. Oh, telluric just means of or relating to the Earth. It means like terrestrial. Of or relating to a natural element near the Earth's surface. Okay, so they're doing studies about the Earth and about the moon. And this was a byproduct of the Russian-American competition. How cool is it that, can we just say one of the greatest hoaxes, maybe the greatest hoax ever perpetrated? Ooh, one of the great hoaxes ever perpetrated on us, this whole we went to the moon thing. It was the competition to come up with a cover story or the competition to try to get there and couldn't, that may have allowed us to stumble onto what might be the real cover-up of all history. That means the cover-up of history itself. These methods have, on one hand, allowed for the consideration of moon landing operations, but on the other hand, have irrefutably shown that the solar eclipses of antiquity referred to in ancient chronicles were actually medieval. And do you know what the word medieval means? Do you know what the word medieval means? The word medieval means the Middle Ages, the early 19th century. Oh, that's the origin of the word. Medieval means the Middle Ages, not BC. So the eclipses, the solar eclipses that were supposed to have happened in way back in the day, BC, this math actually proves that they were medieval. So if you believe we went to the moon, the math that took us to the moon shows that ancient history is a lie. So you've got some consideration. And if you don't believe we went to the moon, then you don't have to worry about that part. But the thing that is most interesting in this, and I didn't know this, I really didn't, and I don't know why I didn't know this. The issue with chronology is that contemporary chronology, who was it created for? By. Who was it created by? When we think of history, we think, oh, mathematicians. We think guys with slide rules. No. Do you know who created our history? The 16th and 17th century clergy was in charge of all historical matters. Wait a second. Are you telling me, Jeff, that guys in dresses, these are guys in those robes, they weren't known for taking showers. They certainly didn't use any hero soap. They certainly did not use any hero soap. They did not let freedom clean, but you can, jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the hero soap logo. They didn't do it. And they were in charge of history. Wow. So history wasn't put together by mathematicians. Mathematicians are saying it's wrong. History wasn't put together by scholars. History was put together by the clergy. What you think you know about history is given to you by your friendly, child molesting, child eating, fear and guilt, blood matrix control clergy. How's that make you feel about history, cousins? We also learned that this model of history that is, oh, you can't question history. I mean, history is history. Those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. History is always written by the winners. See, that's one of those codes. History is always written by the winners. They're telling us, we won, we wrote the history. You're too stupid to check us out. You know who wasn't too stupid to check him out? You think, oh, history, no one ever questions history. Really? Do you know that Sir Isaac Newton questioned history? Do you know that Jean Hardouin questioned history? Do you know that the chief librarian of Louis the 14th also questioned history? And do you know that guys that know how to get to the freaking moon are questioning history? Let's face it, guys that are smarter than you and girls that are smarter than me are questioning history itself. And it appears that the clergy has created the legend of a mythical classic age that never was. When we know the truth, ladies and gentlemen, the biblical events are moved a lot closer to us historically. The New and Old Testaments swap their positions on the chronological scale. Both are exposed as referring to medieval events. Our perception of history begins to change dramatically. And if we apply Occam's razor to world history, what does Occam's razor say? The simplest explanation is right. When we apply the Occam's razor to world history, we begin to see that there's plenty of mistakes in new chronology, or there's plenty of mistakes in the old way of history, and there is of necessity a need, ladies and gentlemen, for a new chronology, because we have been sold a bill of goods. We have been lied to, ladies and gentlemen. We have been lied to. And sometimes you're in a place where you'll believe lies because you're weakened, you're in a depleted state, you're suffering pain from injuries and illnesses. Let me encourage you to go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the stem light logo. That's our stem cell partners. They can do miraculous things for you. And if you're a doctor and you want to partner with the group that is the company that is the exclusive stem cell partner of the National Football League Alumni Association, go to southernstem.com and use the word heal. If you just want stem cells for yourself, go to that stem light logo, use the word heal. And you can also go right next door to that Create Yourself Nutrition and get products that help strengthen your adult stem cells right now, ladies and gentlemen. So Fominko says that he's willing to say he's wrong. He's willing to say he's wrong if anybody can do one of three things. And this goes back to somebody that was in the chat room. If radiocarbon dating methods pass a rigorous, anonymous, non-circular black box test, he'll admit he's wrong. If verifiable astronomical data refutes the results on solar eclipses, his results. If it's proven irrefutably that Robert Newton, NASA astrophysicist, was wrong, calling ancient Ptolemy the greatest con man in history, then Fominko will admit that he is wrong. Radiocarbon dating labs run their tests only when, and this is a scientist saying this, only when and if the sample to be dated is accompanied with an idea of the age range. They don't just come in with a rock and say, here, do radiocarbon testing on this and tell us how old it is. They come in and they say, we think this rock is between 1.5 and 3 billion years old. Test it for us. So guess what? Amazingly, they get a result that's somewhere between 1.5 and 3 million years old. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? So the tests are only run if they're accompanied with an idea of the age promoted by historians on the basis of what he calls gut feeling in history books that have been writing for the last 400 years by dudes in dresses, the clergy. And speaking of the clergy, a guy named St. Augustine said, be wary of mathematicians, particularly when they speak the truth. And oh yeah, when the church took control of chronology in the 16th century, mathematicians were running it up until the 16th century. In the 16th century, the church took control of chronology. And I'll give you one guess what department of the church took control of chronology. One guess. The Jesuits. From the 16th century till now, the Jesuits are in charge and have been in charge of history. Whose history written by? The Wieners. The Jesuits have been in control of chronology since the 16th century. I think it's time the mathematicians take it back. No, I'm no mathematician. I'm a Bible college graduate, not a math major. But I will believe the mathematicians before I believe the guys in dresses, especially when they're wearing Jesuit panties underneath. All the events that took, here's what new chronology theory is based upon. New chronology theory is based on exact sciences, not opinions, that say that all events that took place allegedly over 1,300 years ago, as well as real persons who took part in them, are simply unknown to us. Wow. Who's saying this? Dr. Anatoly Fomenko, full member of the Russian Academy of Sciences, full member of the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences, full member of the International Higher Education Academy of Sciences, doctor of physics and mathematics, professor, head of the Moscow State University Department of Mathematics and Mechanics. Anything that happened more than 1,300 years ago and any people that did them are phantoms. They're mysteries. They are unknown to us, and they can't be proven, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Is this going to be fun or what? Is this interesting or what? Wow. This is some good stuff. This is some interesting stuff. And we are just getting started, ladies and gentlemen. I almost hate to do it because this is probably going to be a rough ride, but let's go into the chat room and see what people have to say, ladies and gentlemen, about history. What do we really know? And I don't know why, but I can't always get back to the very beginning. So I'll just have to get back to where I can get back to, and that is Cynthia L. right on top. Science and mathematics have changed as well. So much deeper. Quantum computing has changed everything. That's true. Ryan Dressel, thank you for the super chat. I salute you. Captain Kirk question history. Pfft. Of course, Captain Kirk hasn't been born yet, but I get it. Dr. Julie James. And I forget what DS is. Divine Science and Natural Medicine or something like that. All I can say is I had a professor from the 70s that had Western society has no clue how badly we're brainwashed. Absolutely. I don't trust the clergy any further than I can throw them. And most of those guys are really fat, so I doubt you could throw them very far. Using dynastic parallelism methods, Jesuits rewrote history. I agree with the last part, but I don't understand the first part, Marilyn. Dynastic parallelism, that's okay. I don't get it, but it sounds like we are on the same page, ladies and gentlemen. The clergy, exactly. Hello, Shannon. And let's see, the claims of Fomenko. I have a thought in my head. I don't have the immediate words for it. Wish I had telepathy. Yeah, me too. Tell it like it is, says Margaret. Thank you. My question is, why do they lie? Jennifer, really? Why do they lie? It's simple. They lie because why does the lying liar on YouTube lie right now? Why does the girl that is talking about calamities, catastrophes, and you know what, this is a good time. No, I'm going to make a whole show about this. Do I show this right now? Cynthia, do I show that thing that I made about that channel? Do I just drop it into this? Or do I save it and make it a completely separate thing? Tell me what to do. But anyway, why do they do it? Why do they tell you lies? They're trying to keep you ignorant of the truth. Why? So they can control you. Jennifer, the reason they're doing it is to keep you in the dark, so they can keep you in the fear and guilt, blood magic, control matrix. That's why they do it. Makes me wonder about the Mandela effect. So it isn't that reality has changed, but true history is being discovered and unearthed. Wow. Truth frequency news. That's a great, great thought. That's a great, great thought. I'm going to write that down because maybe the Mandela effect isn't real. And the Mandela, well, there's a lot of stuff that have happened, though. Anyway, that's a great thought. That's a really great thought. And the question is, does anybody know our history really? Asked Herbert. No, probably not. And that's okay. Or is it? I think it's better to know, but it's at least good enough right now to know that what they've told us isn't true, and we should not trust them. We should not trust them. And here is Rusty Shackelford, based on really nothing more than Rusty Shackelford's opinion, says that I'm putting out his evidence. And can I stop you right there, Rusty? Your opinion is not evidence. Your opinion is only evidence of what you think. And Rusty says that Fomenko was incredibly biased in his writings by the fact that he worked in propaganda for the USSR. First of all, you got to prove that he worked in propaganda for the USSR. Second of all, you've got to prove that he was incredibly biased. And third of all, the basis of his writings were from a NASA astrophysicist. How can you be biased because you work for the USSR when you're using data from a NASA scientist? Rusty, it's your opinion, and you're glad you're able to have it. But to say that your opinion is evidence? No, sir. We get that con out of my face. Your opinion is not evidence. Your opinion's your opinion. You've shared it. I've addressed it. We can be friends, but don't give me that evidence crap, because it ain't evidence, ladies and gentlemen. It's an opinion. Yugoslavian schools used to teach world history that started with the dinosaurs. Well, that's interesting. And they might have been more right than what we've learned. But anyway, Tracy Dyer gives us some perspective. She says the 16th century is really about the 500s, which is what, about 1400 years ago, right? Yeah, we're almost in 2020. That happened in the 500s. Wow. The damn Jesuits again. They come up everywhere, don't they? History is written by the winners, and the winners have been the Jesuits. Can you imagine? History was controlled by the church. The church took control of history from mathematicians, numbers dudes. Is there anything more number-y than history? And ladies and gentlemen, as you're unindoctrinating yourself and your mind is becoming free, you want your butt to be free too. Who doesn't want a butt that is free? Free of funk, free of stink, free of fumes? Hero Soap will give you that butt. All you have to do is wash your butt with Hero Soap, and you will set your butt free from fumes, free from funk, free from smells. And a clean butt is a happy butt. Freedom soap, hero soap. What's it called? Hero soap. Let freedom ring. JeffreyDaugherty.com. Click on the American flag logo. And I get a lot of emails about hero soap. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. Scotty Boy uses a witticism, which is probably more true than you think, Scotty. And we'll talk about that. And Nancy asked a question, are the Jesuits alien? And I've got on the whiteboard over here, aliens part of the Jesuit agenda. So we're thinking kind of in the same thing, Nancy. We're thinking kind of in the same thing. Interesting. So we're going to continue to go down this road. We're going to continue to plumb these depths, and doggone it, it jumped on me. I hate it when it jumps on me. Usually jumping on you is a good thing unless you're in a fight, but we won't go down that road. But the chat jumps on me and it bothers me. Okay, so let's get back here again to where we were. Here we are. What can actually be proven? Good question. Watch out for misinformation. I agree. Paul Watson quotes George Santayana, American philosopher, and I was going to get to this. History is a pack of lies about events that never happened, told by people that weren't there. Thank you, Paul Watson. Very, very well stated. Very well stated. I like it. I like history, but I don't want to be lied to by Jesuits. Me either. I think it's hilarious how often Jeff forgets, because this happens to me on the regular. Oh, I don't forget. I just misplace the thought, but I find it usually. If you believe in quantum computing, why wouldn't you believe in carbon dating? That is called a non sequitur. One does not follow the other. One does not have anything to do with the other. Or as that great American philosopher, I forget which one it was, on Sesame Street, but he said, one of these things is not like the other. One of these things just isn't the same. Who was that great philosopher on Sesame Street? I forget, but it was really some good stuff. Dynastic parallelism is when dynasties that existed concurrently are arranged in linear false chronology. That's exactly right, Mod Wiz. And I think that's, and to a great degree, part of what they've done. Would the Vatican have documented history? Probably not. Jeff, do you fully understand stem cells grown in labs? Don't have to, because stem light is 100% donated cesarean section umbilical cord stem cells. Why do they lie to us? Because we're stupid enough to buy it. They lie to us because it works. Ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, Kujam. Time, it's on my side. Yes, it is. And it really is. The people that are worried, oh my God, time's running out. Oh my God, the end is near. They're worried because they're out of time. Cousins, you and me, time, it's on our side. Yes, it is, because we're winning. They're out of time. We got all the time in the world. We got all the time to win. All the time to win. Praise them. Oh boy, every now and then we get the funny ones. Here we get all the funny ones. And let's see. I want my butt free. Absolutely. I feel much better since I've had a free butt. Let me tell you, I feel much better since I've had a free butt. Absolutely, 100%. Tracy Cooper makes a great statement. So the Jesuits have won. I don't think they win until we quit. I don't think they win until we quit. They have infiltrated everything, but I don't think they win until we quit. And I don't think we are going to quit, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think that we are going to quit. What else we got here? It jumped on me again. It jumped on me again. The Jehovah's Witnesses and Christians attack. What? I don't know what that means. But I don't always keep a real great look on all these. We're not going to quit. That's why the Catholic schools were given a special accord for a long time in the U.S. Parochial graduates were granted better jobs or college applicant status. I'd like to see data on that, but it could have happened. Tracy doesn't trust history. Neither do I. Not anymore, that's for sure. It's his story. Who is him? The rat bastard. Well, we haven't heard that for a while. We haven't had a rat bastard appearance in a while, but there he is, the rat bastard. Was that Big Bird, Kujam? That's a big yellow philosopher. He was pure genius. Absolutely, he is pure genius. What else we got here? It's like getting a puzzle with pieces from 10 different puzzles that will never fit together. Absolutely. I like it. I like it. Lisa singing. Excellent. Love it. Oh, I saw Greta. Greta says that we're out of time and saying we have 12 years left. Exactly, because Greta's a loser. I don't care if she's 13. She's still a loser. Fominka writes about Tataria. Okay, as soon as I get through with this, maybe I'll get to that. Let's see. No quitters. That's right. Rockets, planets, all pagan names. Jeff, I bet your dogs appreciate the soap. They really appreciate the fluffy. They love the fluffy. Let's see. Rehab is for quitters. This isn't rehab. That's right. It's Cousins Club. Somebody said, quit repeating that. It doesn't make sense, and it really doesn't, but that's okay. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. What do we really know about history? Well, and JF is exactly right. The Greta character, she's not a real person. She might not even be a real girl. She looks exactly like the girl that was used in the propaganda of the National Socialist Party in Germany in the 30s. Exactly like her. And do you think that is coincidence? No. She looks exactly like her for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. And, you know, people, oh, you can't make fun of a little girl. If a little girl goes out and attacks you rhetorically, you're allowed to respond to her. I don't care how old she is. And if you think she writes her speech, then you're a special kind of special. We're not attacking Greta. We're attacking Greta's handlers. And they're the ones that ought to be ashamed of themselves, trotting out some 13-year-old girl who obviously has some needs and shouldn't be put in this type of a position. So I'm not going to worry about it. We will continue to answer her. And that's the way it goes, ladies and gentlemen. Her parents are in the entertainment industry. She is a freaking actress. So come on, people. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up, ladies and gentlemen. Just please wake up. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. This has been a great time. Is Greta a Jesuit pawn? Probably, but who knows? Who knows? Ladies and gentlemen, I feel a little bit bad because what you thought you knew about history, now you know it's wrong. And I'm kind of leaving you. Yeah, Greta's on IMDb, which is the Internet Movie Database. Now I've taken, I knocked your religion out from underneath you. Now I'm knocking history out from underneath you. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to rebuild firm foundations for both of those things because that's what we do. History's been written by the winners, but guess what, ladies and gentlemen? There's new winners in town. You're a winner. I'm a winner. We're all winners right here. And together, we are not only going to write a better tomorrow, but we're going to write a better today. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are the last generation of real humans, and they saved the best for last because we are in the business of changing the world, and the world changing business is a booming. And as Tracy Dyer says, we don't need no stinking history. We are moving forward. Things aren't bad. They're not getting worse. Things are good, and they're getting better. Subscribe, tap that bell. I got some great stuff to show you. It's probably going to be tomorrow. And stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, because it is just getting exciting. We're just getting started. I know we're 40,000 plus strong. I know we've been here a few years now, but I'm telling you, we are just getting started. Things are fixing to get exciting. And it's because of all of you, all of you. You're winners, and we are here to write a better today and a better tomorrow. And yes, we will remember Tenaz. We won't forget. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Thank you for joining me. And remember, there's never been a better time than now to unindoctrinate yourself.